Good morning guys and welcome to the show. Today we have another video on the iRTA. We're going to show you what you should be looking for on the RTA, meaning where's the treble, where's the bass, and where's the mid-range or mid-bass, where it's all located on the RTA so that you know what you're looking at. And then we're going to show you some examples of what it might look like. So stay tuned. What we're looking at right here is what we'd like to call a perfect world. We're playing pink noise through an amplifier. It looks relatively flat all the way across. If you're using an aftermarket radio or something like an Amp Pro or a Zen A to B or an AR, this is what you'd see coming out of the factory radio or aftermarket radio. A nice flat line like this, meaning we have the equal amounts of energy in the treble and equal amounts of energy in the bass and of course the mid-range. But what do I mean when I say bass, treble, and mid-range? There's frequencies across the bottom here, and well, where should I be looking? A lot of the times it comes down to like your crossover points. So we're going to break these down into what would be your crossover points to kind of separate this to make sense of it. First off, let's look at what would you call the treble. The treble is going to be, depending on your tweeter, we're just going to use a simple number like 3200 hertz or 3.2. Now depending on the tweeter you have, it may be higher like 5000 or lower like 2400, but anywhere between those numbers on this band is going to tell you that those are tweeter frequencies. That gives us 10 tweeter bands. Next, and the most popular, is bass. What should we consider to be bass? A lot of the times we're crossing over at 80 hertz, but technically bass goes up to about 120. With that being the case, that gives us 8 bass bands. Everything in between that, so from 125 up to 3.2, is going to be mid-range. Now, if you have a three-way set in your car, that could break out in even further into mid-range and mid-bass. Where that would play in is if you had it crossed over at 3200 hertz, your mid-range more than likely is going to play down to somewhere in the 350 range. Your mid-bass would be from 350 to 80, and then 80 and below would be your subwoofer. What you might see, because you're looking at the electrical side of things, is something that looks more like this. And the reason why we're doing that is because now we're pushing that electrical signal to get us that audible difference. As you can see over here, there's a dip in the bass, there's some weird stuff going on in the mid-range, and then there's a boost here in the treble. This might be something where there's a high frequency mid-range where there is actually no tweeter in the car. This boost might be for that. This might be because there's some bass roll-off happening or some equalization issues or just a crossover. Hondas look a lot like this. Something to think about, and what makes having the iRTA2 very helpful, is when you're interfacing with that factory radio or amplifier and you're not using a interface of some kind, it's going to look like this and not wonderful like that. What are we going to be looking at? Well, the most popular test tones for setting gains are 1000 hertz and 40 hertz. And this is why being able to see this is important, because if we come over here to 1000 hertz, we'll notice that there's a huge dip. If we come over here to 40 hertz, we'll notice there's another huge dip. So if I'm setting my gains, I don't want to use these two frequencies, because if I put a boost at 1000 hertz here, keep in mind the whole chart is going to go up, which means these frequencies over here are now clipping and you're blowing your tweeters. The same thing is true for your subwoofer. You've just boosted all these frequencies to make this your level point. Alright guys, I hope this helps you understand what you're looking at when looking at an RTA, and you can pick up your iRTA2 at D&F Tool Drawer. Thank you guys so much for watching. You have a great day as always. Bye.